What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel, and here in today's video I'll be giving you my predictions for the NL East. And now before we get into all that, guys, I'm gonna need you to do a couple things for me, please. First, leave a like on the video if you enjoyed. Next, go over, smash the red button, go subscribe. That is the best way to show your support here on the channel. Then go over, ring that bell, get notified so you know when exactly I am pumping out great baseball content here on the channel. And finally, if you want to get active, go down below in the comment section. I would love to hear your thoughts on my predictions for the NL East, and feel free to comment down below your own predictions. I would love to hear those as well. Alright, so we're doing it 5 through 1, and in 5th place in the NL East, I have the Miami Marlins at 69 and 93. No surprise there, but according to Pacoda, they have the Miami Marlins in 4th place at 77 and 84. I mean, look, the Marlins have had a rough go of things as of late. And that's basically why I see them ending up in the cellar here in the Eastern Division. First, Jeter, he's out as owner now, who I honestly believe had good intentions for the club, when he, was owner, and was one of the many reasons why they were in on Nicholas Castellanos prior to his own departure. But when it comes to how the roster stands right now, well, it's not that good. I mean, first, they lost Lewis Brinson to Houston on a minor league deal, but honestly, he was pretty overrated from the beginning. They added last year's World Series MVP in Jorge Soler, out of nowhere basically. They also extended guys like Avisaíl Garcia and starting pitcher Sandy Alcantara, which was really good for them. And they have, young guys like Lopez and Rogers who seem very, very promising in that starting rotation. They also have Dylan Floro, who was really good for them, racking up 15 saves in 68 games and ended the year with a 2.81 ERA. But the reason why I say the roster is not great is because it's very, very young and they have little to no experience. I mean, look, if you want to count the 2020, postseason, sure, go ahead, but I kind of really don't count that. It was like a Mickey Mouse appearance. But that's beside the point. I just don't see them keeping up in what will be a very top-heavy NL East. So I give the Marlins another 1 to 2 years before I can really take them seriously in that Eastern Division. Now, coming in 4th place in the East is the Washington Nationals at 77 and 85. Okay, now Pacoda, they have the Nationals worse than Miami in last place in the division with 70 wins and 91 losses. Now, as you know, the Nationals are a couple years removed from the 2019 World Series championship season. Since then, they've lost a lot of players who were on that championship ball club back in 19. Guys like Max Scherzer, Rendon, Suzuki, they were on that championship club, not to mention they lost Kyle Schwarber, who was a big bat for them last season in 21. However, they still have some big names on that roster, like Juan Soto being the biggest, one of the best hitters in the game, arguably the best. They also still have Patrick Corbin and Steven Strasburg as part of that rotation, not to mention Josiah Gray, the 24-year-old starting pitcher who they got back in the Max Scherzer deal from the Dodgers. Now, when it comes to Josiah Gray, he did post impressive numbers in the minor leagues back in 2019 after he jumped 3 levels all the way from low A to double A, going 11-2 with a 2.28 ERA. So he's a guy who I think could have a really big sophomore year in the show here in 22. Now, the Nationals also added the 41-year-old slugger Nelson Cruz, and honestly, I never doubt Cruz and his offensive abilities. I think it was a good pickup by the Nationals, and frankly, a very, very smart one by the ball club. However, the biggest downside I see for the Nationals in 2022 will be the overall rotation and overall offense. Okay, now hear me out. I mean, besides Corbin and Strasburg, everyone else in that rotation is really young, like Josiah Gray, or old, like Anibal Sanchez. And when it comes to the bats, I mean, Soto and Cruz will provide great production, but everyone else would be hitting like 7th, 8th, or 9th on a majority of the other rosters in Major League Baseball. Not great offensive production I see coming from the Nationals this season. That's why I got them in 4th place, just ahead of the Marlins. Now, coming in 3rd in the East, I have the Atlanta Braves at 84 and 78. Now, Pacoda, they have the defending World Series champions in 1st place in the East with 91 wins and 70 losses. Now, obviously, Percoda has much respect for the defending NL East champions and World Series champions from last year. However, me, well, not so much. Now look, I think the Braves will not fold coming out of the gates this season, and I really think they will avoid a World Series hangover early in the season because the roster is still pretty good, and honestly, they haven't had much turnover. I mean, yes, Freddie Freeman went to LA and Jorge Soler went down to Miami, but aside from those two big bats leaving Atlanta, the roster has pretty much stayed the same. Now they have Ronald Acuna Jr. coming back this season, which is great. They have Austin Riley, Dansby Swanson, and Ozzie Albies, who will make up most of their infield. They also gain another big bat back in the form of Marcell Ozuna, and they added the veteran relief pitcher Kenley Jansen. Of course, he was a big name with the Dodgers the past couple of seasons. Now, their rotation is where I worry a little bit. They have Max Fried at the top, who went 14-7 with an ERA just over 3 in 2022. Not to mention, he went 2-2 in the postseason and had an average exit velo in the 90th percentile last year. Now, Charlie Morton is their number 2, who's a veteran at the age of 38. Now, he went 14-6 and made 33 starts for them in 2021. Tyler Anderson, he's their number 3, and he went 9-5 and grabbed a win in the World Series last year in Game 6 to cap off the Braves' first World Series championship since 1995. So their 1, 2, and 3 are solid. They're not great, but they're solid. And I will say, I'm personally excited to see what Sean Newcomb does in 2022. Now, I know he struggled a lot last season in 2021, going up and down from the majors to the minors, but I think he's going to be a great surprise for the Braves here in 2022. Now, coming in second place in the NL East, I have the Philadelphia Phillies at 89-73. Now, Percoda has the Phils in third with 86 wins and 75 losses. Now, unlike what Percoda has to say, I think the Phillies will make the postseason somehow, some way here in 2022. I just have a feeling. I don't know why, I just do. And now look, their rotation may not be as good as the Mets on paper, but I think they will have the second best rotation in the NL East this season. Now, they have Zack Wheeler and Aaron Nola as their number 1 and their number 2, and a solid number 3 in Suarez. Now, their offense seems to be just as potent as the Mets here in 2022, because as you know, they have the reigning NL MVP in Bryce Harper. They added 2 big bats in Schwarber and Castellanos this offseason. They still have offensive firepower from JT Realmuto behind the plate, and hopefully Hoskins will improve in his 6th season here in the show. So their offense is actually really, really good, it seems like, for the Phillies this year. The only question or concern you could say that I have for the Phils is their bullpen, obviously, and the depth of their starting rotation. And coming in first place in the NL East is none other than the New York Mets. Yes, the jacket I'm repping here today. Now, I think the Metropolitans will go 92-70 in 22. Now, Percoda has the Mets in second at 91-70. So they basically had the Braves and the Mets tied for first place. So I give, the first place nod to the New York Mets. Now, I know that Jacob deGrom will miss opening day and possibly 4 weeks with an injury, not to mention Max Scherzer, is day-to-day with left hamstring tightness, which forced him to miss what would have been his first opening day start with New York. But despite all that, I still think that the New York Mets are the best team in the NL East. Now, with that said, I do think the Mets will get off to a slow start, unlike in years past, because remember, they are really, really hot out of the gates. They really are, and then they fall off once the dog days hit. It's just kind of weird, but I think it's going to be the opposite for them. I really do. I think they're going to have a 2019 Nationals type of season where they were terrible in the beginning and then pick it up at the end and win a World Series maybe. So I'm hopeful when it comes to the Metropolitans. Now, I think the main kickstart to that comeback midsummer will be their offense. Yes, I think it will explode come the dog days, with guys like Lindor, Alonso, Canha, Marte, Escobar, and Nimmo all heating up in those dog days of summer. Not to mention mention that deGrom and Scherzer should be fully healthy by mid to late June. And of course, they will make massive contributions once they get back to full health for the Mets. And of course, the only thing I worry about the Mets is the health of their overall roster. They need to stay healthy. No more injuries. They can't afford it. I don't care if it was, the 28th man on the roster. They can't afford it, okay? They just can't afford another injury. That's the biggest question for the Mets. Can they stay healthy? And if they can, I think they will be the champions in the Eastern Division. You're welcome, Hayden. So that's all I got for today's video. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Comment down below your thoughts. And as always, I will catch you guys later.